Sup guys, so today we're going to be talking about some news that's come out recently, and this has been through a article from Digital Trends. Now, this isn't all new news, so there is going to be some stuff that you've seen before, and there's going to be some information which you haven't seen before. So just roll with it and let's get into it. So firstly, what we're looking at is UE5 versus UE4, so Unreal Engine, and the reason why they took a stance where they basically started on Unreal Engine 4 and then they backtracked to do it on Unreal Engine 5 because ultimately the graphical properties are going to be a lot better. They're able to use Nanite and Lumen, and when it comes to that side of things, the lighting is going to be a lot better, the graphics are going to be better, and overall I think that it's going to be a much better experience for almost everyone who plays the game. So when it comes to looter shooters are up and coming at the moment, and they're really popular. Now the problem is that a number of games are benchmarked against Destiny, and Destiny is a very successful franchise that's been out for a very long period of time. And most of the time people really want to say, oh yeah, this game's going to kill Destiny. Well, in most cases that probably isn't the case. I think Destiny's here to stay, but when it comes to the First Descendant inspiration, they did take inspiration from Destiny, Anthem, Warframe and Outriders. And you can really see this evidently in the gameplay, because they've got like the Ghost, for instance, with Destiny, and then you've got Outriders, which the gameplay looks very similar. Now I'm hoping that with this being on Unreal Engine 5 and it's going to be looking better, it's going to hopefully be performing better, we're going to see some alterations, and hopefully we won't be memorizing spawn points and stuff. They might actually bring out random spawns for all we know, which would be pretty cool. It's not guaranteed, but I would like to see it myself. Now, one of the things that they've really touched on is runes. Now, runes are going to be really important when it comes to the gameplay itself. So we're going to be able to increase the potency of cooldown, for instance, so you can get reduced cooldown. You can increase the effectiveness of skills, and the list goes on. They haven't really touched on it too much at the moment because they're probably still keeping it quite safeguarded, but what we should expect is that it's going to be a huge part of the game, and it's something that we're going to touch on when the game launches. We'll probably see some of that when we come to the beta, but don't expect all that information to be there, because they're not just going to give away all their secrets in one go. So I went to Square Enix recently, and I got to speak to Toby, who is the lead community manager for Outriders. I was able to get a lot of insights about how IPs operate, and he basically gave a load of feedback and explained to us how it actually works. So with an IP, firstly, they take a long time to develop, they can be very expensive, and sometime or another the company has to push it out regardless, because if they keep going at it, it's going to cost them a lot of money, and they have budgets to work within. Now with the development of an IP, you're going to find that there's normally always bugs that will come up, and this really kind of leads into my next point, which is to do with the beta, which is coming up on the 20th of October. With the beta, it's really important that the community kind of gets together and helps people understand exactly what is wrong with the game. So, for instance, if there's a bug, if there's something which isn't right, all those sort of things, report it back to the devs, because this will be fundamental in making sure we get a smooth launch. If we kind of stay quiet, we just play the game, we're kind of like selfish with it, we've all been there, and we all play betas, and we all kind of want to get something out of it for ourselves. But if we were to kind of look at it from a different perspective, and we help them, then I think in general, it's going to be quite good for the company, because we'll help them bring out a very polished game, hopefully, with minimal bugs, and we can kind of push that aside from the kind of the normal. Now, one thing hopefully we're going to see a roadmap. So with a roadmap, we're going to have a clear idea of what content's going to look like moving forward, and they really need to have this out because they need to tell us what we're going to be getting as far as content is concerned. And we're also probably going to be seeing a season pass or a battle pass, something like that, because this game is free to play. They need to make their money somehow, and they don't really want to completely focus on pay to win, or focus on pay to win at all. Now, when it comes to the story itself, the story, oh my god, it looks so much like Destiny. It's ridiculous. You know, you've got your baddie, you've got all your enemies around the baddie, and I think the story is going to be very similar to what we'd see from a Destiny campaign. They also said that they're going to be adding in side stories and missions. Now, for me personally, that sounds a lot like the elements of Outriders, because side stories and missions and all that sort of stuff was quite bound into kind of how the game worked. And then you've got lore, which obviously is to do with Destiny. So, you know, lore is a big part of Destiny, it's bound in, and a lot of people actually really like lore. So I think that people will really get behind it, and you know, once you kind of get a better understanding of how things work, then I think lore will be really important and something that people really get an interest in. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. So, pay to win was mentioned a lot, and this has basically reached the head of Project Mangum, basically. And pay to win, they don't really want to kind of have that in the gameplay. They need to make money, so there are going to be monetization sides of things, but pay to win is something they want to try and avoid. There may be some elements of pay to win, but it's going to be quite minor in comparison to some other games, I think. But the real question is, will it be pay to win? And the answer is, I think there will be a small element of it. So you just have to keep an open mind to these sort of things. It's the same with Destiny. Destiny has the option to progress through a season pass if you pay for it. So I mean, in aspect, even Destiny has a pay to win side, even though it's not really that useful, but I mean, it's still there. I think the main point that they wanted to make was that you're not going to be locked into, characters buying. You're not going to have to buy weapons and all that sort of stuff. I think it mainly will be around sort of skins. That would be the win and the sweet spot, in my opinion. And for me personally, I'm really not on board with pay to win myself. I would do it almost everything and anything to avoid it. So, if it means that I have to spend a little bit of extra time to do the grind, then pay for my way through it, then that's probably what I'll do. If it's cheap, like really cheap, then I might consider it. But I think from a moral standpoint, it doesn't really sit well with me, and I'm sure it doesn't with you either. So it's just something we have to kind of balance, really. And if they get the pricing right, then then it might be viable. But if not, then I think it's going to be a bit of a hindrance on the game. So finally, just to kind of touch on what we spoke about before, we've got the beta, which is coming out on the 20th of October. That's going to last for a week. And if you can, please do make sure to contribute towards the beta. Make sure you provide your feedback, make sure you share your thoughts, and let them know exactly what you think. They'll listen to your information, they'll listen to your feedback, and from that information, they can take that away, they can work on it with their developers, and make sure it's a really polished game for when it comes out. Hopefully, that's the aim at least, and I hope that is the way that they work. They did touch on their article saying that they've worked with focus groups, and I think that's a really good thing, to be honest, because I think that when I reflect back on Outriders, for instance, I think they kind of missed a bit of it, and didn't really pay as much attention as they might have been able to through, say for example, the trials, where we had to fight the same boss but 3 times over, which for me personally was a bit of a, wasn't that great. I personally prefer to see variety, so there's no variety, then that kind of is a bit of a turn off for me. And for now I've kind of stepped away from it, but when it comes to Outriders, it's been a big part of my YouTube career so far, and it's something which has gained a large part of my audience. Therefore, I've stuck with it, and I don't intend on leaving them. And I'm quite proud to be an ambassador for their game. And also, I've been to Square Enix and developing relationships with them, which is really important to me. Anyway, guys, appreciate your time, and I hope you found this video quite helpful. Hope you found there was some information here which you might not have known about, and I'd love to know your thoughts on what you're looking forward to in the First Descendant, what your thoughts are on pay to win, your thoughts on just anything to do with the game, because there's so many talking points and it's going to be a fantastic game, I think. So back to you, let's hear your thoughts.